Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I decided that I wanted to talk about some of my favorite book to movie adaptations, either book to movies or book to TV shows. So I'm only going to go through about 5 today just because I don't want this video to be too long. So if you like a part 2, let me know in the comments below and let's just get right into it. So the first book to movie adaptation I want to talk about is The Hunger Games, and this one is tough for me because I absolutely love these movies and this book series. I remember I read the books for the first time when I was maybe in like 6th or 7th grade, and I had never read anything like it. It was like the first YA like fantasy novel that I had read in terms of like actual YA and not like children's sort of YA. Like this was definitely like a young adult book. And I just loved everything about it. I thought that Suzanne Collins really did a good job of sort of creating this world that it was unlike anything else that I'd ever read. And so I do hold like a big love for the books in my heart, but I also love the movies, man. I think that everything from like the casting to the set and costume design was literally like picture perfect for me. I feel like it was taken out of my brain and put onto screen. I also had the ability to go to the New York City like exhibition where they had like all the stuff from the movies as sort of like a museum where you could like walk through, and that was super cool. So honestly, in my brain, I do think that though this is so close, I think that the books are better. Only because of the last 2 movies in the series. I love them still, but I definitely think that the franchise was stronger in the first 2. Again, that's more of like a personal preference, but I like remember loving all of the books in the series, and I know like the second to last movie was a little iffy for me. So because of that reason, I think that the books were better. I think the book is better. There we go. On to the next. The next series I'm going to be talking about is the Tiny Pretty Things series. Now, this one is a tough one for me because I honestly think that both of these, or really this just general like franchise, has been a little messy. If you're not familiar with the series basically follows the main character whose name is different in both of these, so I'm just gonna say her as like the main character. In the books, her name is Giselle. In the TV series, her name's Nevaeh. Basically, she goes to this like very elite boarding school and sort of lives out her life as like a ballerina there. That is where the comparison between these two types of media stops. Even though they are titled the same thing, even though the movies or the TV series is based on the book, completely different. Names of characters are different. The storyline is different. The like place that it's set is different, and obviously I understand that the route they went with this was not like a book to TV series adaptation. It was more of a book inspires TV adaptation. It definitely was not cut and paste, but I do have to say for this one I think the series was better just because when I read the books it was very like, this is what happens, oh no, this is what happens, oh no. Like there wasn't a lot of emotion. I didn't really feel particularly attached to the characters, and I think that was just because there were so many characters and they tried to sort of fit in a lot that happens in like one book. And I know that there are 2 of them, but I, to be completely honest, didn't read the second one because I just didn't want to, really. I think the writing was fine. I just think it was a little weak in my opinion. And I think that the plot of the series was actually way better than the plot of the book. The plot of the book was really just like her trying to navigate her high school experience at this ballet boarding school, I guess. I honestly don't even remember how it ended. Whereas in the series, basically there's a murder that happens, and it's sort of about like all of these different kids in this school trying to overcome this thing that happened. And so I don't know, I think this one definitely intrigued me. I actually was able to meet the cast of Tiny Pretty Things as well, and it was a lot of fun and they were super sweet. And I think too, just I love watching dance, and so I think that it's one of those things that I really just prefer to watch dance than read about it. So for Tiny Pretty Things, the TV show is better. The next one I am going to be talking about is the Shadow and Bone / Six of Crows series. Yes. I have to say that this is one of the best book adaptations to a movie, or not to a movie, to a TV show that I think I've ever seen. Like, it's tough because they took two series and combined them into one for the TV show, which at first I was like, I don't know about this, I don't know how I feel about this, but upon looking back at this, I think it was the right decision. All these characters are so loved, right? I can see why the creators wanted to push all of these characters and all of these storylines together, and I think that the way that they did that was very thought through, and I think it was really well developed. I did think that it was a little, there was stuff left out of both, just because they were trying to combine them, and that's okay with me. I honestly didn't think that it did, that it took away from the brilliance of the show. I think the show was done so expertly well, and all of the casting and the set and the CGI in this TV show is amazing, and I did love seeing the characters from the Six of Crows duology as well. I am interested to see how season 2 goes because the show has been announced for season 2. I'm interested to see if it'll focus more on the crows or on the main characters of Shadow and Bone, or if it'll again be split down the middle. But I felt like the first season was very much focused on the Shadow and Bone characters and not so much on the crows. So we'll see. It really depends. For me though, I did read the books first, and I think that I have a little bit of a split opinion on this one. I think that the duology of the Six of Crows duology is better than the adaptation, but I think that the adaptation is better than the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So that one's a little backwards. I'm gonna say like a point for each, but it definitely is one of those ones where I was like, the books were weaker for me in terms of like writing and just flow of the series, I think, with the Shadow and Bone ones. But I do think that the Six of Crows duology was great, and so that one to me, like, the books will always be better, but I do think that this TV show has a lot to offer, and it's definitely a great one to check out. The next series. This one's a fun one. To be completely honest, I do not think this is an original thought. I think all readers who have read this series and seen these movies 100% can agree with me when I say that the Percy Jackson books are a million times better than the movie. I'm sorry if you are someone who just loves the movies, but they are so horrible. Just not crafted well, man. I think they took out too much stuff. They tried to make it too adult. It didn't work. And it pains me because I do love the Percy Jackson series. I read those books when I was in like 5th grade, and it was the start of my love of reading. But I do think that the movies were just a flop. I hate to say it, but they just didn't pull through. They were trying to be too much like the Hunger Games, I feel like, and they just missed the mark, man. So that one really doesn't need a lot of discussion. It is definitely the books for me. The final movie and book pair that I'm going to be talking about today is one of my favorite of all time, which is The Fault in Our Stars. I cannot express how much this movie made me cry, man. Because here's the thing. When I read this book, I was bawling my eyes out. And then when I watched this movie, I was bawling my eyes out. So, bottom line, I probably shouldn't watch this movie or read this book again because of the lack of water that will be left in my body afterwards. So for me, I love this book with all of my being, but I also love the movie. I do think that the way that they kept most of the stuff from the book to the movie was great. I think it's one of the best book to movie adaptations that I've ever seen. I truly think that they kept to the book so well. I think the casting was great. I know Ansel Elgort is a little right now, but I do think that like when this movie was made and when it was cast and stuff, they cast it in an incredible way. I think that the actors and stuff really brought these characters to life and made them what they should have been. So honestly, I can't decide in this case. I mean, I guess I would say the book because that's where the story originated from, but I do think that like both the book and the movie bring so much in their own ways. I think to end, it's a tie. Anyway, this video is kind of like all over the place. I don't know if this was the correct way to sort of do this or if I should have spent more time on just like one book and movie and gone into depth about what exactly made it better or worse. If you would like to see something like that, let me know, but this is just sort of a little teaser into this sort of thing. I don't know if I'll make it a series, maybe I should, we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.
Even if you try, you